Hey guys. So, I think that by now most people are aware of the copyright litigation going on in the United States right now concerning artists and AI developers. But if you're anything like me, you might not have been following the lawsuits very closely over the past year and a half. I've been looking into it a little bit more lately though, and I thought I'd share what I've learned because it's kind of been an eye-opening journey for me. From what I understand, there are actually multiple lawsuits going on right now, but I'm just going to focus on the most publicized case, which has been brought against Stability AI, Midjourney, and DeviantArt. So where does it all start? Well, according to my research, the lawsuit began with 3 artists, Sarah Anderson, Kelly McKernan, and Carla Ortiz. These 3 individuals discovered that some of their work was included in a giant dataset that had been commissioned by Stability AI, Stability AI being pretty much the biggest player in the AI art world. Apparently, Stability AI had commissioned this dataset in order to train their AI model, but the problem is that the dataset ended up containing a huge amount of copyrighted images, including some that were created by Anderson, McKernan, and Ortiz. So the 3 artists filed a lawsuit in January of 2023 accusing Stability AI, Midjourney, and DeviantArt of effectively stealing their creative works. And Midjourney and DeviantArt were included in the lawsuit because they use the same AI models that Stability AI develops. What the artists were alleging was that the AI developers were illegally using their copyrighted works, and not only theirs, but many other artists' copyrighted works as well, in order to train their AI models. They also claimed that the process of AI art creation is really just collaging, that the AI art models store compressed copies of illegally obtained training images and then recombine them, essentially working as advanced collage tools. Finally, the artists alleged that the AI developers were violating their right of publicity by allowing the artists' names and art styles to be used in training their AI models. This piqued my curiosity, so I went in and I did a little bit of digging into these artists' portfolios. I sort of got a sense of each one of their personal art styles, and then I went into Midjourney and I tried to replicate their styles by specifying the artists' names. And honestly, I'm not seeing much similarity between the images Midjourney gave me and the ones I saw in the artists' portfolios. To be fair here though, it's been over a year since the lawsuit began, so it could be that the AI developers have made some changes to Midjourney based on what's been going on in court. And speaking of the AI developers, they are unsurprisingly denying any form of wrongdoing. They insist that there's no collaging going on, but that their AI models create entirely new images of their own based on mathematical representations of patterns collected from training images. The developers also argue that because the end result is transformative, the work of current AI models should be protected under fair use. When the lawsuit first kicked off, a representative from Stability AI stated, "We take these matters very seriously. Anyone that believes this isn't fair use does not understand the technology and misunderstands the law." The lawsuit is fairly complicated and there's more going on with it than I have time to cover in this video, but from what I understand, these are the main arguments that both sides are making. But the law moves slowly, so even though the original lawsuit was filed in January of 2023, some of the most significant events in the trial didn't occur until October of the same year. On October 30th, 2023, in a surprising move, the presiding judge dismissed nearly all of the artists' claims against the AI developers. While it was determined that the developers did use the artists' works, names, and art styles in training their AI models, it was also determined that their acts did not technically break the law. And some of the details as to why are pretty interesting. For example, 2 of the artists in this case, Kelly McKernan and Carla Ortiz, actually hadn't even registered their works for copyright until after the data had already been scraped. And since their works hadn't been registered at that time, they're not able to retroactively go back and sue for copyright infringement. The third artist, though, Sarah Anderson, she did register her works before they were scraped, so her copyright claim was allowed to move forward. But, in another plot twist, when the AI developers requested that Anderson specify which of her works had been included in the dataset scraped from the internet, Anderson wasn't able to do so. As it turned out, she actually never saw the dataset, but determined that her works had been used in it based on a search of a website called ihavebeentrained.com. So it looks like she went to this website, found her name on a list of artists whose works had been used to train AI, and then she proceeded with the lawsuit while never actually having seen the images included in the dataset herself. Interestingly enough, though, the judge determined that this was enough to allow her to proceed with her copyright claim. However, at the same time, the judge also made a point of challenging the idea that all images created by AI art tools are derivative of copyrighted works. Basically, his argument was that since the dataset that was used to train the AI models included both copyrighted and non-copyrighted images, one can't say that AI training necessarily involves the infringement of copyright. And finally, the judge clarified that in order for the artist's case to succeed, they're going to need to prove substantial similarity between an AI-generated image and an image belonging to an artist that was used in training the AI. One of the strangest developments in this case came in February of 2024. Back then, Stability AI, Midjourney, and DeviantArt moved to dismiss the case on the grounds that Anderson, McKernan, and Ortiz are actually trying to suppress art. Yeah, that's right. Their argument was that since their AI models are tools for artistic expression, any attempt to stop their operation is a direct attack on the creation of art. They tried to use this argument to claim that their right to free speech was being violated. Now, no matter where you fall on the AI art debate, I think we can all agree that this was a pretty audacious move. Basically, the AI developers were trying to use the Uno reverse card and accuse the artists of suppressing art. And unsurprisingly, the judge didn't buy it. He ruled in favor of the artists and refused to dismiss the case. And based on the information I've been able to find, that's about where the suit is sitting today. Anderson, McKernan, and Ortiz have amended some of their complaints regarding copyright and right of publicity, and the courts are still trying to determine how lawful the current AI models are. Basically, at this point, the crux of the entire lawsuit is this. Are AI art models just copy and paste tools that create mashups of pre-existing works? Or are they genuinely creative, producing transformative works based on advanced pattern recognition? It's a complicated issue because of how complex and poorly understood the technology is. When I was making this video, I did some research on how AI art models are trained and how diffusion works, but honestly, it's still pretty much over my head. And with the technology being this complicated and poorly understood by the general public, it's pretty hard for any of us to come to a well-informed and well-educated conclusion on the ethics of AI art models. If you love traditional art and you really want to support artists, it's fairly easy to say that AI art is really just collage without actually understanding diffusion technology and how it works. And on the other hand, if you're really excited about AI art and you love the idea of having this new art tool, it's easy to say that traditional artists are overreacting and they're just anti-progress, also without really understanding how the technology works. But either way, the reality of the situation is that AI is very likely here to stay. The genie is already out of the bottle, and at this point, there's no putting it back inside. And honestly, based on how the suit has progressed so far, I don't see things turning out very well for the artists. What Stability AI did during the data scrape may have been unethical, but it looks like the AI developers have done a pretty good job of circumventing the law. And even looking beyond the scope of this trial, the reality is that there are a lot of powerful players backing AI. From Mark Zuckerberg's Meta AI to Elon Musk's Grok/xAI to Microsoft's Copilot, most if not all of the big players in Silicon Valley are all in for AI. And while there's a pretty big difference between, say, ChatGPT and Midjourney, there are just a lot of powerful people who are invested in an AI-friendly future. So, with all that being said, where do traditional artists go from here? Ultimately, I guess that's going to depend on the artists and on how the litigation turns out. But I can't help thinking of another lawsuit that's pretty relevant to this one, and that's the suit being brought against Stability AI by Getty Images. Getty Images is a stock photo website that's currently suing Stability AI for data scraping practices similar to what we saw in the Anderson, McKernan, and Ortiz case. But interestingly, the end goal of the Getty Images lawsuit is not to stop Stability AI. What Getty Images is requesting is simply to be paid for the data that was used during the AI model training. Apparently, Getty Images is looking to establish some sort of paid subscription model, similar to how artists are compensated on Spotify. Given that traditional artists are likely going to have to learn to live alongside AI, it might be more practical to begin fighting for compensation rather than trying to take AI art tools down altogether. But that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Do you understand diffusion technology? I'd love to know your opinions in the comments. Until then, see you next time.